Now, leaving my little appendix, I like to put the test in different graphic terms. Let's view our body of knowledge, mankind's body of knowledge, as a table with four corners. All the knowledge that we've accumulated in the past 5,000 plus years, it's all tucked into one table, one solid steel cube. And metaphysics is a tablecloth we want to put over the table to wrap around it, an overarching wrap-around philosophy. Does the tablecloth cover the four corners of the table, the top four corners? Or is it typically missing one corner or two corners? It might be a beautiful tablecloth, the finest linen, threaded with gold, from the finest philosopher from the finest university. But does it cover all four tables? Or does it happen to be missing one table? Say eternal origins. Does it happen to be missing one corner, like theodicy? If a tablecloth is missing one corner, can we use that tablecloth? You know the answer. The answer is not really. If a metaphysics is missing one or two corners, can we really use that metaphysics? You know the answer. Now, the related questions one of the related questions is, well, David, who were the competing metaphysics to your Summa Metaphysica? You assert that Summa covers the four corners of the table. You spend 2 books demonstrating how it does. You assert that your theory is elegant and powerful, that you deploy or discern one concept, holy quest for potential, and layer it across all knowledge known to mankind for 5,000 plus years. You layer it against all the Science Channel's programs, all the National Geographic program, all the known scientific data that you are aware of, and that your, so to speak, brain trust is aware of. And you assert it covers all four corners of the table. Well, what about your alleged competition's metaphysics? Those who you, so to speak, seek to overturn. At the Bard Conference, at the end of the 3rd day, we posed the question to all academics: which is the competing metaphysics? Where is the competing metaphysics? The consensus was Neoplatonism. Well, Neoplatonism is not a metaphysics. Neoplatonism is a modality of thought. I employ Neoplatonism in my metaphysics. So what is the correct answer? The correct answer, or the limited correct answer, is that to many Jewish people, as I'm familiar with that context in particular, the 2 major metaphysics out there are Aristotle's metaphysics and Maimonides' metaphysics. At the conference, there was another metaphysics proposed by Professor Peter Atkins, a former Oxford Don and internationally noted chemist. And he was sort of like my nemesis at the conference, which was fine, because it created dynamic tension. I'm going to first go to Atkins' metaphysics. Atkins says everything is decay, and it's on his tapes and in his books. And the tapes are available on conference1000.com, and his books are available, and I quote his books at the end of my book, the relevant portion. And not only is it Atkins' metaphysics, he has a whole group backing it, including at the conference. All is decay. All is decay. We asked him again at the conference it's taped for the conference on the site. Dr. Atkins, the great Dr. Atkins, would you rather be considered a product of decay, as per your little metaphysics, or a product of potential, as per Birnbaum's metaphysics? He said, definitely decay. So what can one say to that? And where did this decay come from, Dr. Atkins? We asked him at lunch, we asked him at dinner. He did not know. He did not have an answer to that. He's missing at least that one corner of the table. Frankly, he's missing probably all four corners of the table. With all due respect. So let's get back to Maimonides and Aristotle. These are bona fide, very major metaphysics. They're attempting to cover all four corners of the table. And they have the highest respect of many nations and civilizations over the centuries. I believe they're fatally flawed, but they have standing, international standing, of Western civilization. Daniel Khalil, a young scientist and a teacher of Jewish philosophy, wrote one of the introductions to my book, God and Good. And that's in the book and on the site. I'm going to quote some of his excerpts because he's quoting Maimonides and Aristotle, and he's pinpointed where they deal with eternal origins. And let's say eternal origins is one crucial corner of the table. Another way of saying it, do you start at the beginning of the book with eternal origins, the book of the universe, or do you start in the middle of the book, like Peter Atkins and many other distinguished people? And no one disputes Atkins' genius or brilliance, but we're disputing his metaphysics. Here we go. There have been noteworthy attempts to deal with eternity. And this is from Khalil now. Maimonides is perhaps the most prominent example of a Jewish philosopher who would analyze, if not challenge, Judaism's fundamental suppositions. In his Guide to the Perplexed, Maimonides describes a Judaism that has dovetailed seamlessly with an understanding of the universe as established primarily by Aristotle. Yes, they're both Aristotelian. Aristotle and Maimonides. As Maimonides holds Judaism to the light of Aristotle's logic, he finds concordance on all topics with merely one exception, the question of eternalism, which I'm calling eternal origins. Aristotle is the quote eternalist, believing that the universe is eternal and that God comes into existence at some point in time. Maimonides asserts the converse, that God is eternal and the universe is actively brought into being. It is striking that Maimonides, who accepts Aristotle's position on an array of topics, including the essence of both God and man, cannot find agreement with Aristotle in the relationship between God and the cosmos / eternity. It is even more astounding that neither Maimonides nor Aristotle claim to prove their respective positions vis-a-vis God's relation to the cosmos / eternity. It is as if both men probed to the depths of metaphysics together in complete accord, only to resign quite openly, and this is not well known, to their respective presuppositions at the end of the journey. Both sides, meaning both men, appear to be missing tools that are essential to complete the journey, and both sides admit their respective unpreparedness by abandoning the very thought process that brought them to this point. Here we go. This is from Aristotle. As for matters concerning which we have no argument, or that are too great in our opinion, it is difficult to say, why is this so? For instance, when we say, is the world eternal or not? The great Aristotle surrenders on this point. He does not have an answer. Next, Maimonides. Quote, the eternity of the world or its creation in time becomes an open question. It should, in my opinion, be accepted without proof. But he means without logic. We don't need proof. We want logic. It is not in the power of speculation to exceed. The great Maimonides surrenders on this point. Do they cover all four corners of the table or not? They do not. And they are the towering metaphysics of the centuries of West of the world. Of course, it may be that if no one has provided an alternative which covers all four corners of the table, we go with the best that we've got. Yes, Thomas Aquinas, known for Summa Theologica, writes a grand metaphysics. It draws heavily on Aristotle and Maimonides. It's heavily interlaced with church doctrine. I'm not going to comment on it specifically, but he will face the same common issues as faced by his inspirers, Aristotle and Maimonides. He notes only Aristotle as an inspiration, by the way, for the record. It may have not been politically correct or advisable for other reasons to cite Maimonides at that point in time. So here we go. You have a rough lay of the land. My position is, if there were a convincing metaphysics, you would have heard it by now. But we have not heard it. We will deal with offshoots of this particular focus tape in future tapes coming up. God bless, and we'll see you soon. Hi, this is David. It's now Monday following the Metaphysics B tape from Friday. This is a twofold minor clarification to the Metaphysics B tape. First, regarding the eternality of the universe. According to Summa, potential possibility is eternal. The universe per se, as we know it, is not eternal. Quest for potential eventually brings into being the universe per se, as we know it today. Second clarification, as regards criteria for powerful metaphysics. The following criteria as well are necessary, albeit not sufficient. So here we go. A proposed metaphysics must as well, A, clearly provide an overarching and fully integrated conceptual framework. B, must clearly get to the gut of the key issues. C, must truly, clearly comport with all known dynamics in all the hard science fields. D, must clearly comport with our observations and accumulated wisdom. That is a tall order. That concludes our little Metaphysics B clarification snippet. Thank you.